the thing that we have, because we have such a strong brand and we resonate with a lot of people, we are one of those brands that bring a lot of people in the category because they come for the brand and then they get the product.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Launchpad of Innovation. This is our monthly podcast that explores the role of technology and its effects on today's omni-channel advertising and marketing ecosystem, with a particular emphasis on digital out-of-home advertising. I'm Frey, President and CEO of DPAA. DPAA is the global trade and marketing organization that promotes the digitization, the innovation, and therefore the growth of out-of-home media, and its increasing role IRL in real-life media and in stored media and the omni-channel media marketplace. This podcast is sponsored by valued DPAA member e.l.f. e.l.f. is the retail media platform built for real-time audience activation and closed-loop attribution in physical retail. e.l.f. turns in-store screens and every digital out-of-home surface around them into a true performance media channel. Now, out-of-home media delivers value up and down the whole marketing funnel. My special guest today is Benoit Vatere, Chief Media Officer at Liquid Death. Prior to Liquid Death, Benoit founded and later sold V-Tags by Mammoth to Lunar Solar, and before that, he was CEO of Playhaven, the mobile gaming company. Welcome, Benoit, or maybe I should say bienvenue, Benoit from Bordeaux.
Thanks for having me, Barry. Happy to be here.
We actually have a great DPAA member located in Bordeaux. The company is a DSP called Displaced Media, and they're wonderful folks, and they keep threatening to have me out there to drink some wine.
Well, hi to them. Bonjour.
So let's start, shall we? But actually, before we start, I took a look at your commercial for the Pop-Tarts tea. Wow, or as you may say, incroyable. That was wild. It was joyous. It was irreverent. It really cut through. Maybe can you tell us about that a little bit? I'm gobsmacked after watching that. That was crazy and great.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good view in our world about how we look at, especially as we are talking media here, as what we call our upper funnel or awareness campaigns. And it's really like, standing out, being unexpected, catching attention, being able to be remembered. And that's what we do. And we do that through humor. That's our lane, comedy. And we never move from that lane. And I think we do a pretty good job. And that one, it was definitely one of them that I think caught people's attention and is helping move product off the shelf.
Benoit, it's a pleasure to speak to the man behind that great commercial and great brand. Thanks for joining us at DPAA's Launchpad of Innovation. Tell us a little bit about Liquid Death, the traditional product line, and then we'll talk about some of the new products.
Yeah, I mean, we are a healthy beverage platform, and that means that we have actually 4 categories. We are not just a single category. We started with the, mineral water, which I think a lot of people know us about, this big white can, which then turned into a sparkling one, which was the black can. And that's what we started with in the, late 2019, early 2020. And then we moved into the flavor sparkling water category, which with bold flavors, with our soda-inspired flavors. And right after that, we decided to disrupt a category that was in decline that we thought we could help grow again and do good within, which is the iced tea category. And we are doing extremely well there. And about 6 months ago now, we stepped into this monster of a category, no pun intended, which is the energy drink category. And we took our own approach to that, which is a better for you approach to energy, which is similar to what we did with the other categories, but now stepping into something that hasn't been very healthy up until now. And I think we're doing a really good job there as well, but it's very early on. We just started, like I said, only about 6 months ago now.
And when you say healthy, is that because it's got less caffeine than supercharged caffeine products?
Yeah, we look at ingredients. We look at making sure that the ingredients are natural ingredients. In that case of caffeine, we also make sure that we were not tapping into high level of caffeine. And that's why we stopped calling it the easy to drink energy, meaning that you drink one and you still feel good. You don't feel like you are jumping off the walls. And then it's easy to get another one if you want another one later. And yeah, also quality ingredients and also small amounts of ingredients and ingredients that when you read them, you know where they are.
So you only jump off the wall when someone's watching your commercials, not when drinking.
Right. Not when you drink the beverage. That's right.
You've expanded your product line, and the reason for this particular expansion, what was, did you do some research? You found a need for this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, first, the beverage category is pretty wide. There's a lot, and starting with water for us was an important one because liquid death, death to plastic. Wanted to get rid of all those plastic bottles that were out there. So water was the first one. But then after that, as you look at a venture back company, growth is the key. And how do you grow? Well, expansion is how you grow. You start to grow obviously your commercial footprint and the retail doors that you get. But after that, also the next step to grow is to get into deeper in each category. And that's why we start expanding. And we expanded in categories that we thought we could be impactful by being healthy, by being irreverent, by bringing some really amazing flavor. And then last one we stepped in is probably one of the biggest one in beverage, right? And energy is extremely competitive, but extremely big. So when it comes to growth, we can definitely grow pretty well in stepping into this category.
I love the healthy values here, including, by the way, the plastic or omission of plastic. The chairman of my board, Monsieur Francois de Gaspé-Beaubien, who is French Canadian, but his family came many years ago from France. He is running a family foundation, in addition to a lot of other things, to eliminate plastics from the sea. So he'll be glad to hear this, and you will meet him actually in a few weeks.
Amazing. Yeah, I mean, for us, that was a big thing. Death to plastic bottles is part of who we are. And that's why we came up with the can, which didn't exist before us. So water in a can didn't exist in the United States before we did it, which made it actually pretty difficult for us to put it all together and be able to sell it in the United States.
Très impressive, n'est-ce pas?
J'espère bien, oui.
So let's talk about your role as Chief Media Officer of Liquid Death. What does that entail, Benoit?
Yeah, good question. It entails the entire funnel of media from upper funnel to lower funnel, which is core to my strategy, full funnel. So it starts with, digital and non-digital. So from an upper funnel standpoint, there's still linear TV that plays a big role, but also a lot of CTV. Then obviously mid funnel with all the social platforms, but also all the different retail media platform. And then lower funnel, heavy retail media. So it's the full funnel, cross-platform, non-digital, digital, and then we'll talk about the out of home, which we can discuss also where does it sit in the whole funnel, and something that for us, we're a pretty young company, right? We haven't yet went deep in, but very intrigued, very excited to dig in because I think this is an untapped, I would say, platform for us that could be impactful. So excited to chat more about it.
Well, that's great. Well, I could tell you as the leader of the digital out of home world, what's so exciting for us, and I think would be exciting for you, as you mentioned, full funnel. Traditionally, out of home was great at developing reach and awareness at top of funnel. And now, because of the digitization of the medium, programmatic, the ability to show outcomes and data with companies like AO and others, and movement of product in retail, we are now a full funnel medium as you are a full funnel advertiser. So we look forward to many full applications together.
I agree. I mean, I was on a call like a couple days ago talking about screen in gas stations, and you can access programmatically. I'm a big believer of programmatic because I can do a lot of things with programmatic from a targeting standpoint, from a retargeting standpoint. And so, like you say, the fact that out of home is heavy digital now can be accessed through programmatic really opens up a lot of scale, but also a lot of movements in the funnel. You don't have to stay up a funnel when you can start accessing programmatically. So that's why I'm very excited about that category and what we can do with it.
Excellent. In fact, Gas Station TV, GSTV, is a DPAA proud board member, and you'll be meeting the C-level folks in a few weeks with them as well. So I look forward to all of us being together.
The call was with them, and I was very impressed by the capabilities and what we can do there.
Yeah, it's great. And they also have the C stores, so it's great for retail media movement. And then from my own consumer standpoint, I would say when you're driving and you want a little pick me up, but you don't want a, heavy caffeinated drink, get a little liquid death.
That's exactly what it is, which is why I like that idea of, gas station screens walking into the convenience stores right after. There's a lot that can be done here from an awareness standpoint, then straight to consideration and conversion in the store.
Straight to consideration and convergence. That's I love it. Perfect. You'll also meet our other members, Gym TV, where people could use a little energy, captivated office buildings when they're kind of coming back from lunch and need a little pick me up. So a lot of activity for us to talk about. Tell us a little bit about it. It's got strong consumer appeal, certainly among Gen Zs and millennials. Does it typically engage with these consumers, and is that your target audience? And in addition to what you've mentioned, how do you engage with them on a media and marketing wherewithal?
Yeah, we over-index in Gen Z and millennial because this is where we started. We are a digital native brand. This is where it all started. We started on social media. We won the internet through social media several times with very viral campaigns, which got us in front of that audience, the Gen Z and millennials, and we start growing. We also had a very strong partnership, still do, with Live Nation. We got us into a lot of concerts and festivals, which also got us in front of that audience. So this is where we were born. So we over-index here. And because of the type of marketing that we do, because of the product itself, which stands out, which is a statement. So that resonates very well with that audience. But I must say, over the last few years, we started to expand because that comes, prior to what I was saying around growth, you need to expand beyond just a single audience. You need to expand your audience. And that's why I call it the in-market audience. At this point, I'm not just going after the Gen Z and millennial. I'm going to whoever is consuming water or sparkling flavored water or energy or tea. And there's a wide spectrum around age and gender and where people live. And so when I do marketing, when I do targeting, yes, I think about the age, the gender, the location, the household income, all those more standard parameters. But I'm mostly important for me is like, are they already buying in the category, meaning that I'm going to conquest within the category, or I'm going to bring them into the category? And that's the marketing. That's how I'm thinking about my media dollars and the strategy that I put around this.
And do you spend against both conquest and new to the category?
Correct. Both. And obviously it depends on what stage and what maturity you are. If you're in the early days, why trying to bring people in the category if you already can conquest heavily in the category? But as you start becoming the leader in the category, then it's time to bring people in the category. And the thing that we have, because we have such a strong brand and we resonate with a lot of people, we are one of those brands that bring a lot of people in the category because they come for the brand and then they get the product. And so that's why a lot of, retailers, most retailers love us is because we are helping to grow the category.
Well, another strong retail category product these days is e.l.f. Eyes, lips, and face. Corey, who I know there, is running an amazing business. The growth has been off the charts, and you're collaborating with them. How lucky are you, and how did that come to be?
Yeah, I mean, Corey is amazing. And actually, it came through Corey and our CEO, Mike Cesario, who got to know each other and both very creative people and also always up to do something that is not expected. That's what we do. If it's expected from us, we don't do it. If it's not expected, we go all in. And so we would have expected Liquid Death to do something with health. Not a lot of people. And so when you come out with a campaign, then you get into like, what just happened? What did I just look at? Right. And similar to the experience that you had with Pop-Tarts, the 30 seconds, like, whoa, what's going on here? That was also what we were hoping to get from the collaboration with health. And also the team at health and Corey's team is such an amazing team to work with that it was so good to be able to do something that people were like, whoa, what is going on? And then that helps us to tap into an audience that we don't necessarily talk to, which is their audience. And also for them to talk to an audience that they don't necessarily talk to, which is our audience. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to work with folks where we don't overlap much. So we can get in front of new households, right? In front of new people. And so that's what happened with health. And it worked so well that we came with a part two So we did one like I think 2 years ago and one just earlier this year or end of last year. But that's, it was a very successful V1. We did a part two, which also went very viral and very successful. But that was the idea. Is like, how can we get in front of new people? How can we be unexpected?
And we talked a little bit about out of home. Anything to add on your future plans of how much tremendous out of home you'll be buying, or we covered that?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, from the out of home, for us, like I said, it's new. So we're starting to test, like, I was just mentioning earlier, talking to GSTV and see what we can do there, but also very curious about what can happen in an airport. Like I was walking the other day in an airport and I start seeing all those screens here and I was like, okay, there's something here. I'm big around mental availability. And how do you create mental availability? Is through high frequency. How do you create high frequencies? By being into a lot of different places at the same time. So if I start talking to you through a podcast, if I am in front of you on TV, if you see me on social media, and then now if you walk into the airport and you see me, or if you are, for example, in the store, you mentioned that I think earlier, is like, out of home is also screens in the store, and we see a lot of retailers growing in that space, right?
Right. Sure.
Now I start getting a lot of people, because it takes more than a single view. It takes more than a single impression for people to remember me, for people to consider buying it, right? And so I haven't touched it enough. Very excited to touch it more and to invest more in there, because like I said, for example, with the gas station example, you're getting very close with the screen to consideration and to conversion. And that's a big thing in media, right? You can put a lot of efforts, a lot of dollars to create awareness. You can create a lot of efforts to convert, meaning like when you're at the point of conversion. So if you're on digital, when people search for it on, let's say on Walmart.com or on Target.com, right? But what the in between, getting from being aware to picking up off the shelf or searching, that's the mid funnel. And that bridge is not easy. And that's where the digital screen can play a big role.
Yeah, we're so excited about it because in this country, in UK, Canada, Western Europe, we're finding that about 80 to 85% of purchases take place in physical stores, not online. So as our members around the world reach people on their daily journey, their path to purchase, and increasingly now more at the point of purchase, it's very powerful to be able to purchase the product right there.
Correct. And it's true here, right? I mean, it is growing. The digital penetration is growing fast at all retail, but still vast majority is in store. But regardless, I think out of home, digital out of home impact both, right? Digital out of home is either, yes, in the store. So now you're really close to the shelf, which is critical. But if on the digital, again, it's as I walk around the city, as I walk in the airport, I see it. Not everybody has a phone. You go from I see this to I open my phone, I go on Target.com, I search for liquid death energy, and now I show up. This is because I heard about liquid death for a while. Now it keeps popping up in front of me and I have my phone and I search. So this is where it is important, regardless of brick and mortar or digital.
What an exciting brand. It's a pleasure to chat with you. I look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. And I want to thank you for doing this, Benoit. Benoit, you've certainly demonstrated, like your brand, that you are healthy, you're reverent, you're innovative. I think you probably got some good flavor, and I see that in your style and delivery. And lastly, you have a lot of energy. So you are the perfect brand ambassador for Liquid Death.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. That was fun.
A pleasure. Bye-bye. Au revoir. A bientôt.
À très bientôt.
Wasn't that a great conversation? This is at the heart of what DPAA does. We've curated conversations with brands, agencies, and thought leaders. Upcoming guests on this podcast will also include leaders from Shopify, Delta Airlines, and many more to come. We create these curated conversations on this podcast and, of course, also at CES, Possible, and Cannes Lions. Thanks again to A.o. With 80% of commerce happening in physical stores, A.o. indicates outcomes from shoppers attributing impressions to sales and optimizes campaigns. This enables anchoring the store in the loop with every other digital out-of-home surface on the path to purchase with the same performance standard as any digital channel. Real-time activation, truly observed, not modeled from the physical store. IRL in real life.